just go full screen. All right. Okay. So thank you very much, Gary and Groina, for this opportunity. Really appreciated. I'm really and honored to be finally part of this Climate Ambassadors talk series after so many interesting online sessions and many brilliant speakers, really. So thank you. I am Nicoló Tria, and I've been working with GEAI, Good Energies Alliance Ireland, since May 2019 now, when I first came in Ireland. I am originally from Italy, and today I will talk about our grassroots climate action project called Crga. Okay, so what is Crga? For starters, Crga is an Irish word, as you may know, and is the Irish word for brave, because we think that every climate action, especially at the grassroots level, has to be brave. This is the first ingredient. And before we actually even started the project, before the project took shape, we knew two things: that it had to have an Irish name, and it would have been leading us to climate neutrality in Leitrim in 2030. So I actually came up with this name when I was browsing through the Irish dictionary, Irish Gaelic dictionary, and I came across this word Crga, which to my ears sounded really powerful and solemn, and I thought, yeah, this is it. This would be the name. And later in the stage of the project, it also came to be quite conveniently an acronym for, as you can see, climate resilient opportunities for generations ahead, which pretty much gives you an insight of what the project is about. So I'm going to tell you the story of how our remote rural community in County Leitrim embark on their journey to climate resilience. So for starters, I'd like to share this quote with you, which is from the Climate Change Advisory Council, which is the advisory body for all things related to climate policy to the Irish government. And this is an extract from their latest 2020 review of their report, of their main report. So as you can read, and this is pretty much to frame the scope of our initiative and all grassroots initiatives in general. As you can read, financial incentives are not the only motivator for climate action. Central to developing policies for just transition is continual public participation, which is at the same time challenging but essential. And it was with this spirit that we approached our own project. We had a very strong mindset that if we are going to be successful and transformative, we had to have the support and the active agency of the local community. Just to introduce you to Good Energies Alliance Ireland, it is a small NGO located in Ballinaglera, County Leitrim. It was first incorporated in 2012, and it was very active from 2012 to 2017 in the All Ireland Anti-Fracking campaign, acting as a coordinator for the whole network. And this led in 2017 to, as you know, the fracking ban of all exploration, excavation activities on the soil of the Republic, which was a great success. And from 2018 on, GEAI engaged in different local initiatives addressing household energy use. For example, we did household energy surveys in different towns in the Northwest, which led some of those to the starting of local sustainable energy communities. and also we engage with local kids in schools for climate actions workshops with them. And from 2019, which was when I joined the organization, the main project was Crga, and I'm going to tell you about this one specifically. So what is Crga? Crga is community-led climate action, basically. And it's also a process. And it's a process that pretty much could be replicated in other areas. We articulated the process in 3 phases. And phase 1 was where your actual data gathering, data elaboration, and all the scientific background happened. And this phase lasted 6 months, and so as volunteers, European volunteers, to take on each one a sector of activity, of economic activity in Leitrim, and do the math. So it was really a carbon accounting exercise for agriculture, transport, residential sector, and so on, plus the carbon sinks, so how much carbon dioxide is absorbed mostly by forest land in Leitrim. And at the end, this took the shape of a county-based carbon inventory study, which is quite unique. It's the first of its kind, because usually you have your nationwide carbon inventories, for example, the one that EPA compiles and publishes each year for Ireland and submits to the United Nations. And this was done for County Leitrim. And we also refer at this report as the baseline, because it's really the starting point against which every other actions, every other achievement is measured against. Then phase 2, which is actually the most important, it's where local climate dialogue sessions happen. And I will spend a few more words on those sessions later. And yeah, because this actually was the spirit that inspired us when we first took on this project. We didn't only want to have your scientific report, all the facts, but it was important that the community was part and protagonist of the process. The report, by the way, was also we had some consulting from local academics, local experts, for example, IT Sligo, but also GMIT and EPA itself. Moving on, phase 3, and we are currently in this phase, is the formulation, the adoption of a Crga action plan, which would be a collectively designed action plan submitted in collaboration with the local authority to have climate actions, concrete climate action to be adopted and implemented. And we are currently in the phase of selecting and trying to frame those actions better. This is to give you just a glimpse of what the report looked like. It's an excerpt. The report itself is 100 pages report, and it's quite, it has a very scientific academic cut, a lot of charts, diagrams. It's a bit, not really easy to digest. So what we decided to do afterwards, especially during the quarantine, was to unravel and break down that report in a series of colorful infographics that were more accessible, and we published them on social media. Yeah, thanks. Somebody wrote that they love the infographics. Yeah, these were made with Canva, which I don't know if you know. It's an online based tool, which is actually even somebody that has zero graphic design background like me can produce something like that. And I'm not going to go through the numbers here. If you're interested, you can find both the report and the infographics on our website. Okay, I'm trying to move on. Yeah. So let's spend a few words more about the climate dialogue itself. So before starting it, before actually outreaching to the people, we sat together and we established a few features of or principles, if you want, that our climate dialogue should have. And we were pretty strong on it being open and inclusive as much as possible, as well as accessible and transparent. So leaving technical jargon to a minimum, for example, and giving everybody the opportunity to partake and to speak in order to their voice to be listened. And of course, we wanted it to be evidence-based and up to date with all, the climate action universe that is taking place in Ireland and in Europe. And in our case, the evidence was the report, so the baseline. We wanted it to be as much interactive as possible, so we organized a lot of workshops, and it was facilitated and moderated by GEAI staff. And we also wanted it to be intergenerational because, of course, the issue itself, climate action, is intergenerational and cross-section. So to have all age groups and people from every type of background. And last but not least, we were very strong on having it action-packed because we had this feeling that people were a bit tired of all talks about the climate crisis, and there are many initiatives actually going on, but we felt that people wanted something more concrete, something more action-packed. So that was our purpose. Just to give you timeline of the climate dialogue that we organized. The first session was in December 2019 in Balinaglera, and this was also the session where we publicized the results of the study, the carbon inventory study. Then we moved for the second session in Carrick-on-Shannon in February 2020, and we were very happy with the tendency of these two sessions, but of course, unfortunately, after that there was the pandemic, so all in-person events had to be cancelled. But we moved online with our activity, and especially in spring summer 2020, we were active on our Facebook group, and we published all the infographics. So we tried to not lose the momentum that was generated in the past two sessions. And the last was in September. We co-hosted and took part to the Climate and Communities online climate dialogue. Yeah, this slide just to give you a few pictures of the two sessions, workshops, and some examples of our social media marketing materials that we use, to engage with the community online, to invite them to the sessions. Okay, I prepared a few slides to go through some of the workshops that we organized in the two sessions. For example, this one, we called it the roundtable brainstorming, And those flip charts that you can see are the outcomes of the workshop. So basically, people were asked to choose a topic and sit at a round table and have a discussion around the topic, and trying to answer some guided questions that the facilitators posed. And they were asked to stick on those flip charts their suggestions, ideas, in order to feed in the brainstorming. And this was another workshop that we did. We called it the Thermometer workshop. And in this case, people were given a sticker, a small sticker, when they entered the venue of the climate dialogue, and they had the chance to place their sticker onto those sheets that were hanged up on the walls of the venue, accordingly to their position in the line, in the agree-disagree line. And it was really actually interesting and funny to see how some issues polarize the opinions, and while some others are more divisive. And yeah, this one was implemented in the second session, and I have to give huge credits here to Groina and Gary, because I actually learned about this design thinking workshop at the Climate Ambassador training in January, and I had the chance to propose this for our second session in February. So I'm not going through the methodology here, but just know that this is excellent. It's an excellent format to develop ideas from scratch. So to sketch up ideas in a collective fashion, because people are sitting around the table and they have to collectively build the idea. And then people were asked to vote for the best ideas and turn them into concrete climate actions. As you can see in the pictures, the best ideas that were voted by the dialogue community had the chance to be presented in a 1-minute elevator pitch to the audience. And some of those excellent climate actions will be integrated in our Crga action plan, so in the phase 3 of our project. Yeah. Mitigation scenarios, going back to a more technical part of our project, are parts of our Crga action plan. Basically, they are scenarios for cutting down emissions in County Leitrim, and they were calculated upon the climate action plan, the government climate action plan that was published in last year, July 2019. But of course, now these targets are obsolete, because as you may know, there was a sentence by the Supreme Court that basically declared them not ambitious enough, not realistic, and so those are to be updated very soon. Actually, the new climate bill, which was expected to be published today by the DOIL, will contain the new targets, and we will try apply those targets to the Leitrim scenario. So last couple of slides, what's cooking up now for GEAI? We have two main strands of action. On one hand, we are trying to adopt the Crga action plan in Leitrim, seeking, of course, collaboration with the local authority and other partners. And on the other hand, we are trying to replicate the project in other areas. Closing remarks, main takeaways from our experience that we'd like to share with you. Yeah, citizen and civil society engagement is key for a transformative and inclusive climate action. And really, without the agency and the participation of the local community here, we would have never reached the stage that we are now with our project. And local communities, especially in rural Ireland, can be at the forefront of a just transition, and just transition is a strong driver for community empowerment and resilience. Thank you. You can find our contacts in this final slide. Thank you very much.
That's brilliant, excellent.